I'm Odeva, brought here 8 lotus petals specified Mount Koya, which located in its center as a holy mountain and built Daijo Temple. Yeah, so hello, I'm playing Exile for a bit. This building is called Kompon Main Tower. Imodeva likened it to the Taizokai Mandala. By building Kompon Main Tower and West Tower, he attempted to combine the Taizokai Mandala with the Kongokai Mandala, and to dimensionalize them. Dimensionalization of mandalas means the integration of space, that is to say, ceremonization of this world. This is the means to attain the Pure Land. Well, Imodeva apparently failed in dimensionalizing the mandalas. Why did he fail? It is believed that someone destroyed the Kongokai Mandala. The details are still shrouded in mystery. In order to reveal that mystery, we came here. Let's go inside. The Taizokai Mandala chart must be somewhere. That is the one we have to find. Right, one sec. Oh yeah, so I don't know how much of this I'm going to actually do on here. I'm waiting for a thing to come in for a file that needs opening at work. So I'm playing some Exile, and I'm like most way in. I think I'm in Japan, but this on my Evercade it is the Mega Drive version, and it's all fucking nonsense. They took out all the real places. They took out most of the words that made any sense. It's absolute gibberish what they've written down. But it's kind of charming, and also it's just a good game. It's still a good game. Oh, bugger. Oh, worst time for me to be receiving texts that require my attention. Anyway, oh fuck. I have to remember what all the buttons are and deal with the fact that things come off screen in awkward ways. I'm not doing well. There we go, right. So yeah. Genuinely, like, I can't remember if this is Wolf Team or not. Is this Wolf Team? It's definitely Telenet, right? But I've genuinely been quite enjoying their action RPGs / like walkie to the side platformer hack and slash games. They've been really good, like playing Valis and shit. And this one, like once you get past the first dungeon is a real trial by fire. Like, you gotta learn, and this one is, reacting to things fast enough. In this particular bit, it's a bit tricky, but I've got loads of health, so I'm not really that bothered. The first dungeon, you don't have a means to make a lot of money. And it just shucks you straight in. It's quite difficult, but it's really good. Once you get past that, like, it's quite breezy. Like, just reasonable challenge. I mean, very mazy. Like, lots of going through doors and not really knowing where you're going. And being attacked by on all sides. This one seems like a particular example of all sides things just flying at you. Oh, level increased. There's weird, utterly gruesome creatures in this level, both in a tower. But yeah. But there's like a warp spell, so I can just leave if I need to leave. It just would be really good to just know where I'm gonna fucking go. Alright. I think I've just got myself into a bit of a loop there. So I think this door might be my one. Oh, fuck off. But it is kind of... Alright, yeah, that one's circle. Let's try this way. Right, yeah. I'm not going that way. Let's go over here. Oh, different bit of scenery. Right, let's just quickly drink some heart poisons. But yeah, but sometimes you can just end up, like, if there's a criticism of the level design, you can just end up going around in circles and just finding, like, nothing. I know, right? Oi! Off! Off! Silly cat. We've talked about this. We don't walk on laptops. Especially when I'm, like, waiting impatiently for, like, urgent stuff to come through. That's rude. Ooh, bit of platforming. Brilliant. Now, what I have found is that certain enemies that can fly, well, specifically ones which, not the ones which fly across the screen swiftly, but, like, floaty fellas, are very good at finding a, I just know how the spawn point here works. There's a lot of points where there's infinite spawns, which can be a bit tricky. Kind of shows his background, I guess, in 8-bit computing. Yeah, I know. But, like, the enemies can, like, some of them can, like, work out that they can float down on you vertically, and you have a little bit of a blind spot there in terms of where you can slash. So you have to, like, work out a way to damage there. Because you've got, like, downwards vertical, but you don't have upwards. In terms of, like, what you can do with your sword. Oh, fuck off. Right, let's work this out. Okay, I can't do that. Why? There we go. Just being funny with the platforms. Of course you are. Right. Ugh. But it is a game of constant ambush from both sides in certain areas. And you really got to get used to how, like, the different enemies in any given dungeon act. Flaming bloody balls. Level increased again, though. Must be near the cap. This cap's at, like, level 17. Oh, no, 14. Okay. I want to keep going. On the whole, bosses aren't terrible in this game. No, I've been turned around. So it was just here. That was on the other side. Let's see if there's somewhere else we can go. No. This is just a loop. Okay, let's try it from the other direction then. But yeah. No, they haven't done it yet. Oh, fucking hell. Right, okay. No chance? No. I get hit by the same fucking one every time. Ooh, there's loads of these fuckers. Okay, so it isn't here. Can't be here. Well, let's see if there's another door I've missed. But yeah, if you die... So I really got to pay attention to my HP, because it might just get to a point where it's just worth going straight back, because you get healed when you leave. Oi, fuck off. No. No, and that is just the same loop. Right. We're gonna warp out. Don't need a lot of magic to warp to the start again, but that music's good though. Right. See if we can work this one out then. Right. Fucking fast. Right, so there's the one door. And kill things, kill things, kill things. And then it's just another door. There's no, like, other branch so far. Gross things, fly fuckers. More gross thing. Again? Nowhere yet. Nowhere here. Right, now we get to the point where there's... Right, so 1, 2... So four doors. One does not simply walk into 4 doors. Right. And just so much stuff to murder. 1 sec. Right. Bit of a break. Cause we've got work to do, and we've also I've started cooking, as is not really tradition. Yeah, the thing, there's 2 kinds of people. Like, someone who just sees a filthy loo and goes, you know what, I've got to get my bleach out, I've got to get my loo brush, got to sort that out. And then there's some people in the world of a certain, predominantly of a certain gender, who go, you know what, I bet my piss is powerful enough to clean that off. Anyway, sorry, but I might make you laugh. Where the fuck is this? There we are, nice. Got some mushrooms on the go. They're gonna taste dead good. But we're gonna add onions and probably some pepper. See how much of it can fit inside wraps. If the wraps are alright, and if they aren't mouldy yet, they are from last week. That's the time I want to say. Hall of the Mountain King. That's what that tune is. In the UK it's associated with Alton Towers. That is a theme park. A bit like your one, which is a certain number of flags. I think it's 6, it might be 5. It's dead good. I always liked Black Hole. That is the name of a roller coaster. For the science fiction. Look at there! With a science fiction theme. So yeah, that's good. Nemesis also. Banger. Nemesis still going? I hope Nemesis is still going. This is good. Like, just amazing theming for a roller coaster as well. Right, onions and mushrooms frying. Pepper, you are optional. I've got to do some quick bit of work, and we're going to talk about Exile some more. So yeah, it's kind of a style of action RPG you just don't see much of anymore, of the ones which are sort of platformers, sort of. She put herself down as her own supervisor. Oh well. I'm only filling it out according to what they have said. 150. That doesn't seem like a lot for a 350 quid budget. Does not seem like a lot for the amount of faff this has been. No, okay. Patient general. And name of. We got. Alright, what's that? Right, okay. That's that. So yeah, Exile, they're good. I don't really have much more to say about it besides that, but you know what, let's just see where we go with this. I've got to sort out some dishwasher and some what breakfast? Lunch. It's lunch. I can have a lunch break today. I can have a lunch break today. I don't have to do the school run in my lunch break for once. Which is nice. Right. I need... Okay. Bin bag. First step. Yucky. Yucky beans. Let me go out of the way there. Right. Get all this cutlery out of the way. And start with the plates. For they are what will be the biggest faff. Right, get in there. Thank you all. So yeah. Ugh. Do I feel like you spend your whole life multitasking? There we go. So yeah, I had to, well, I say had to, didn't really have to. I chose to send review scores in to Bill today for their extra secret grandeur review. You know, because how many times can you review one absolutely excellent mid to late 90s RPG depending on what version of it you are playing? I find myself increasingly, when talking about Japanese games in particular, might possibly just be say something about the ones that I enjoy, but finding myself saying, depending on which version you play. It just seems that a lot of the very exciting ones came across various platforms, predominantly ones which weren't very popular in the US. You know? Like, I feel like everyone was sort of, on the whole, like, take Ease for example. I feel like, as a whole, the dorky video game community sort of reappraised Ease. I feel like at one point it was definitely something of an obscurity, and now it's kind of like a normal ass game that people like, you know? Perhaps that's buying into hype and marketing. But it does feel a bit like it's less obscure now. And maybe it's the result, like I'm always coming back to, of how less so in the US. The US got more stuff, got more RPGs, but the UK press in particular were not keen on role-playing games, and they were not keen on games which had any elements that were two-dimensional. You know, and anything that looked like Final Fantasy was naturally compared directly to it in a way which is sometimes unfair and sometimes just erroneous. It's just like, I really wish I'd kept it. Turns out most of my, would you be surprised that my mum chucked out a lot of my old PlayStation magazine collection? What a surprise. Not the end of the world, of course. But, you know, I had a lot. And I wish we'd managed to keep the month that they reviewed Legend of Dragoon. Because, genuinely, the response was a 5 out of 10. Half because it dared to be an RPG that was similar to Final Fantasy, but it wasn't Final Fantasy. And they said it was offensive. Went as far to say that it was an offensive copycat. Yeah, being like, it's called a genre, mate. You know? It's like, imagine, if you will, just, in fact, you don't have to imagine that hard, because these people who follow this line of logic exist in the world. But there are people in the world, generally over a certain age, which are like, well, why would you bother listening to a modern metal band? Iron Maiden already exist. Substitute for Metallica a lot of the time. You know? There are people who are just, I know the example of that thing, we only need one, and we've got it. We've got it. Why would you need a newfangled Final Fantasy when we've got Final Fantasy at home? Cost 40 quid. Cost 40 quid, across 3 discs it did. Fucking hell. I don't know. I just think it's fascinating, and I also think that, like, it's a common talking point at the moment where there was this whole period in time, like, we act like it was just online critics around the time of the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 sort of generation of consoles. Also, console generations. That's also daft. Anyway, but we act like that was a specific time in which there was a lot of anti-Japanese game racism. And it was a lot of racism, and it's sort of when we started getting, like, the term JRPG, and why it's sort of a bit awkward, honestly. Like, we're talking about, like, you know, like, even before the discussion started including things like, Expedition, whatever it is, the French one, I still need to get around to playing it. Well, what it means is it needs to come under 20 quid and then I'll play it. Which is silly, it's a silly way to look at things. It's a silly way to think about it, because like that sort of ridiculous value judgment is you know, it's not really good for video games as a whole, is it? I don't think pepper is going to make it into this one. I think it's going to just be these mushrooms and onions, and I'm going to add the last egg. And I'll remember to cook some peppers because they're starting to turn. Anyway, what the fuck was I on about? The racism. It's always been there. It's genuinely fascinating to me, but it's always been there. And it's interesting because, like, it's part of why, like, you know, there was a point where it was an issue for Nintendo to, like, release anything because they were very clearly a Japanese company. And there was that racism there at that time. But, like, within, like, video games criticism, you just read a review of a well-regarded RPG, like one which is currently well-regarded. Read a review of one from the 90s in a major magazine, the type which would have appeared on shelves. So I'm just adding some egg, mixing it in with all this. But yeah, like, read one of those reviews and see, like, they were panned. They were things for swotty dorks who sit in their, depending on age of dork, bedsit or mother's basement. You know, it was dork stuff for dorks. Oh, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to play RPG that isn't Final Fantasy? You know? And, like, the very thought of a Dungeons and Dragons related game, or a game which was high fantasy as opposed to shoot the shooty bang bangs, or racing games, or things which are big manly stuff for men. Fucking football games. Why have football games, like, been an eternal thing? Ugh. And it's just because the other stuff is nerd things. And the nerd voice is increased over time. You know, we didn't always have YouTube. We didn't always have people willing and able to record themselves ranting for minutes after minutes. You know, like I'm doing right now. Like, it wasn't how it was before. And, you know, we are the minority. That's fine. It's still viable. But, like, it's always been there. And it's just that now these communities find an easier time getting together, have an easier time discussing these things. These subjects which are relatively niche don't have to be as niche. We're going to add some barbecue seasoning to this. It's just a generic one. But I have it. Well, you're going to come out? I mix that all together. I'm going to start getting some cheese. Just got to do silly amounts of cheese. Okay, right. Right. We might have some work to do. Right. Okay, there we go. So anyway, there's a lot of varieties, and I feel like I've gone over these points before, like hundreds of times. I do apologise if I'm starting to get a bit boring in my old age, but you know, that's life. That's life! There's life, and I can't deny it. But, I don't even remember where I started with all this. Oh, I think I was talking about my things to Grandia. Pretty sure Grandia was like a 7 out of 10 at the time, but like, the fuck does that even mean? The review scores, they're fucking dumb. Read the text, you know? And it's just very silly on the whole. I think I still have the first. I might still have the original article that got me wanting Grandia. And it's another one which is like happy to sort of write it off as an RPG. Why would you want that swords and sorcery type swatty nonsense? And also, like, it was full on like 90s video game magazines. I think it must be an OPM. I have it somewhere. But it's like whips and knives. Ooh, we like her. She's a bit sexy, you know. Fucking hell. It's a good game though. Genuinely, Grandia is a good game. Exile, which is what I was playing before, that's a good game. And actually, like, there is some degree of charm to the absolutely bananas localization that Telenet did. I'm curious to now go play the PC Engine one. In fact, I think this was all part of the thing, is that now, like, it's interesting and there's more, like, credence given to these older RPGs and action RPGs that started out within that PC-88 MSX, like, 1980s Japanese computer gaming scene. Because it was absent for so many years. You know, I've literally contributed to podcasts where the history of video games is reduced to, well, then the NES happened and everything was fine. And there are, like, all these different sort of scenes, and there is a tendency for certain American voices to reduce almost everything. Reduce to these basic terms. It's like, I think it's good that we're at a point where retro gaming is at a point where people are sort of considering everything, you know, and people are like looking into like interesting different stuff. So yeah, that's all good. Now, if you're looking at that, oh mate, I got one of those the handhelds that Game Lab are shilling, that are they're essentially Anbernic, like clone devices. Like, they're straight up like all the insides of an RG35XX. You know, that line of can play up to PS1 perfectly, bit dicey on N64 and Dreamcast. One of those ones, right? Get adverts for them on YouTube all the time now, being like, and one of them start off with, "Oh mate, it feels like this should be illegal," and I'm there being like, that's a retro handheld preloaded with ROMs that have been obtained illegally. It is technically illegal, although you've not broken the law buying it, unless it's been very clear or sold to you on the premise that it is full of 20,000 ROMs. if it's sold to you on that premise, you might have actually committed a crime by ordering it. You know, the devices aren't illegal, but those ROMs are. Guys, please be careful. I say, having an extensive collection of totally legally obtained backups. Yep. Definitely got ROM flashes on me. But to be fair, I've been playing so much Evercade lately. And that is all legal. Right, what am I looking at here? Right, I want that one. That's the correct. Oh, it's the one which has a better name. There we go. Right. Get the reference. I'm making sure not to. Speaking of crimes, I'm making sure not to reveal any details on here, which, you know, because I am working at the same time. Don't know if you've noticed. Because this thing is urgent and needs to be done now, because somebody somewhere fucked up. Right, please tell me that there's a trust contact. Because oh, perfect, thank you. Right. Here we go. Thank you, Doctor. And we've got a reference. Point. There we go. Boop. Achoo! Okay, and we need a court. Oh, dearie me. But yeah. But I mean, you also get the same from the UK people as well, you know. Like, let's look at everything. Don't do it. Do it with the thingy. Thank you. There we go. Just realising that, like, they wrote the full name of the court when you only need the abbreviation that they prefer to be called under anyway. There we go. Yes, court. There we go. That's all done. Right, let's put in instruction details, and then we can, because that mix of yummy stuff smells really yummy, we can see how much I can fit in a wrap with some cheese and maybe some kind of sauce added. I know it's scummy, but it's only breakfast. Not breakfast. The other one, lunch. Point being, it's only for me. So it can be gross. You know? Who cares? Oh, it's ages ago, this one. Although you're counting it as yesterday, are you? We are awaiting proper instruction. Fascinating. Okay. Right. You're a DI? You don't know what that means. I have logic. Not logic. What's the fucking other thing? Knowledge? Knowledge. Knowledge. Logic is devoid of knowledge. Logic is the other thing. Logic is just maths. Maths applied to words. Oh, for fuck's sake, you fucked this up. Ridiculous. There we go. And then... yeah. I'm really tempted. Well, I'm tempted by various Evercade collections. I've been really enjoying the renovation one, and I'm gonna just actually like squeeze everything I can out of it. You know, it's a good choice because it's one which has like RPGs on it. I'm even gonna fucking play Trazier, and it's gonna suck. I've like played about an hour of it, and it's bad, really bad. But like, Valis, really good. Exile, really fucking good. The shmups, honestly, sold this, really fucking good. Granada, all right, you know, quite enjoyed it. But yeah, it's really good, and for like 20 quid, completely legal, properly licensed. Like, that's pretty good. Right, claim form issued on a date. There we go. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, fight. Pew, 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 pew. Test your might. Bam, 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 bam. Test your might. Bam, 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 bam. Kano. Liu Kang. Oh, fucking Mortal Kombat collection came out recently, didn't it? Oh, fucking. They're so bad. I love the lore of Mortal Kombat, and I think maybe trilogy. You need to play it. You need to have like one of the digitized people ones. Although 4 was better. Sorry, like 4 is like better, but it's still shit. It's still really fucking bad. And like people always give like the examples of like when they're naming like bad fighting games that are like more mainstream, not like Matt McMuscles like or looking up obscure shit, but like just regular ass proper marketed fighting games which are like bad. People give like examples like Toshinden and Kensei Sacred Fist. I'm thinking of just polygonal ones. But you know what I mean? Like there's shit fighting games out there. Mortal Kombat should be among them. It's really bad. It does. It's so like limited and just a bit crap. You know. But also, I don't think that Street Fighter 2 ages very well. Any of the versions of it, I think that series may have. Well, I'm a third strike. Fucking like, I'm shite at it, but I really enjoy third strike, and I can see the. But like for me, fucking Alpha was really where that went good, and it's still like not as good as what's it called? Not as good as Darkstalkers. And Darkstalkers is just really good and really fluid and just really plays fucking well. Whereas Mortal Kombat plays like shit. Nicest way. It's really bad. Just it's not a game to play well. And I get that it ties into. I understand it ties into a place and time and arcade culture and so on, and like I don't know, like this sort of, it's one of those things where your background does actually like feed into a lot of stuff about you and a lot of your opinions and so on, and you know, there was like a time and place in a certain culture which may dominate the conversation in almost every single case. Right, you're ready to go. Right. But you know, there's certain large nation which has decided what the truth is about all things video games. You know. And they had an arcade culture, and there was some like arcades here, but in the nicest way, like absolutely no fucking way was like while they still existed, because you also have to keep in mind that like I was born 1990. That's also a big part of it. I absolutely love arcades and arcade machines and arcade like the games themselves. Like you just have to look down a list on the feed fuck is the cheese? Oh, where's the cheese? Cheese, 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 cheese. It is the bee's knees. I do worry I've repeated a lot of the same talking points about retro gaming over the time. Anyway, my point being, there's absolutely no way that my mother, who was a former policeman, former policewoman, even person, whatever, who was, you know, from one of those families that straddles, as so many do in Merseyside, straddles working and middle class. You know, they weren't doing too badly, but like, that's because they wouldn't spend money on anything if they didn't have to spend it, and that's the thing. It's it is one of those things. I'm not going to pay for you to play a video game once. Also, my mother was quite staunchly anti-video games in general. Genuinely thought that it was like hampering my social skills, and they'd be like, no, what's hampering my social skills is autism. And you're not going to force me to suddenly want to be, like, to suddenly, you're not going to force me to suddenly be good at outside things. I'm not going to suddenly be competent at football, which is what you needed to be. Now, I'm not going to suddenly be not seen as the one that knows far too many things in the age where it was cool to be stupid. You know? Anyway, my point being, no way would you spend money on an arcade machine. You just wouldn't. It's not allowed. You know? Like, the video games we had, well, okay, up until, like, I had regular access to PS1 at about 1998, I want to say, when my mother got one, because she's primary carer. I was at my dad's, like, some, but not all weekends. And you know, the PlayStation was there from 1997 or 6-ish. My point is, like, properly getting into it. Before then, it was like PC games, which we hadn't fucking paid for, or Game Gear, which had a bit of an eclectic mix on it, by which I mean it had shmups for R1. Which is fine now as a grown-up with grown-up attention span, but like, I struggled as a kid with them. Right, how many wraps have I got? I've got 4. Okay, we're going to double them up, then we'll be able to fit a decent amount in. What are you doing? You having a shit? I think the cat's having a shit just outside the door. Or something. Right. I'm going to put you in there. About half this mix in there. Oh, smells good. It's going to be good. Yeah, there we go. That's for the second one. We need some cheese from the graty. Oh. Probably that'll be it. Oh. The Venga bus is coming and everybody's jumping. New York to San Francisco to play a new disco. Oh, Venga Boys have been in my head lately. Whoa. And of course, boom, 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 boom. I want you in my room. Oh, I didn't put any sauce. Right, we're going to have sauce. Ooh, dipping bowl. Oh, that's a good solution. Oh, clever boy. Boy, girl. Girl, boy. Both. Neither. All. Oh, that is great for my cheese. What was I talking about? God, this is like... It's not a lot of AOLP here, is it? This is mostly me ranting at my my phone while making some lunch. Oh, and occasionally breaking off to do some actual work. The Venga bus is coming and everybody's jumping. What was I talking about? Fucking hell. What was I talking about? Good job I don't edit this, right? I could edit this. There'd be 5 minutes of like cogent thought. Who knows? We had Mortal Kombat, and then I was talking about arcades and just the fact. Oh yeah, no, it's fine. I think I've finished that thought anyway. But that's the thing. I think that's why like piracy is really fucking prevalent. Has always been very prevalent in the UK for video games. Like generally, that's why like loads of DS titles didn't get released in the EU because the response from the companies was like, well, no one's going to buy it. They'll just pirate it. Like, that was a real issue with the DS. It was cracked wide open. And you know, and say what you like, I do spend quite a bit of money on videos. I just don't have a huge fucking budget for it. And also a lot of video games are not released in my native language. So I play them in... Well, I either play them in not my native language, as I have been doing while doing things like buying fucking Grandia on Sega Saturn. But to be fair, I know that like the back of my hand anyway. But, it's one of those things. I generally, like... I think, like, next time I play Grandia, I'm probably going to play it emulated, but I've bought that game on... So I own it legally. Admittedly, one of these copies spreads out to, like, 4 consoles. But I've got PS1, I've got Saturn now, I've got PC. And then... And like that PS1 like copy has been played on like PS1 and PS2, and then I bought it on PlayStation Network, which has been played on my PS3. It's been played on my PSP, been played on my PS4, been played on my well, I haven't got a PS5, but I technically have it. It's very weird. But my point is that like I already own I own it so many times. I don't think anyone's going to be bothered if I back it up, which I have done. Like. I've got a disk drive again. That's weird. Use the potato to back up loads of my games and put them in the thing. You better not piss in there. You're not a baby. That's a toy one anyway. You're in a funny mood. Oh, it's because it's high up and it's by the window. And you're a cat and you feel safer when you're high up. Yeah. Yeah, the auto chapters on Spotify are going to be wild for this. Right, okay, dishwasher's on. It's going to need emptying and refilling at some point today before... Probably between me finishing work and everyone coming home. I don't have to go out today. That's why we've managed to successfully do this. I think I still got half an hour worth of break to have, but I'm going to eat with that. I don't think I'm going to go back to Exile on pod for the moment. I might see if I can get around to doing it around the time where it really kicks off. I think I'm about halfway through now. And it is famously like very short and abrupt. Right, that is probably about done being cooked. Because I can hear something leaking out of it. Which will be cheese. Right, I'm going to love you and leave you. 55 minutes worth of me talking absolute bollocks. Oh, love you. Bye.